in China to switch its development model from manufacturing to high technology. Soon, it was in full steam to experiment with leading-edge industries ranging from biotech to wearing devices. The city's economy has also expanded exponentially along the way. In 1979, Shenzhen's GDP stood at 197 million yuan. 40 years later, that figure soared to 2.6 trillion in 2019. And the growth momentum remains strong. An unparalleled supply chain, coupled with talents from all over the world, has made the city an oasis for entrepreneurs with ambitious visions. Aside from industry giants like Tencent, Huawei, and DJI, a great number of startups have also been cropping up in the city. However, after charging forward with a miraculous speed in the past 4 decades, the city is also facing uncertainties, including the havoc wreaked by COVID-19. But the Special Economic Zone is showing resilience at its 40th birthday as it registered a GDP growth of 0.1% in the first half, despite a shrink of over 6% for the first 3 months. Shenzhen was designated as the demonstration pilot zone a year ago and is taking center stage in the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area. 戴凯毅 CGTN.
Right, as mentioned earlier, Shenzhen is renowned for its rapid economic development, especially in the high technology sectors. And during the past 4 decades, the city's GDP has risen over 10,000-fold. 7 companies have been listed in the top 50 for international patent applications. And Shenzhen's research and development investment has also led the country. In 2018, it surpassed 100 billion yuan, around $14 billion, accounting for 4.2% of the city's GDP. And now Shenzhen is the first city in China covered by 5G networks. Its creative ability has made it the world's frontier in this field. Well, Shenzhen is often thought of as the Silicon Valley of China. Now, Mark New has more on how the 2 regions often build technology and companies together.
An over-ear headphone, but also has an in-ear.
These aren't your typical headphones.
It actually allows us, it has separate speakers, allows the melodies to be played straight into your ear through a speaker here in a way that's custom tuned to match to your hearing.
Nura breaks new ground by using sensitive microphones to measure how a user hears and then personally shapes the music for the most detailed sound. While the technology was developed in Australia, where the company is based, 2 other places have also been integral to its success.
Would Nura exist without Silicon Valley and Shenzhen?
Oh, I mean, it's a good question. It would have been a lot more difficult, let's put it that way. Even our team that is based in Australia or the US, when we're doing product development, we spend a lot of time in Shenzhen at our manufacturing partner's facility.
Nura went through San Francisco's HAX Accelerator program, which also has operations and extensive connections in Shenzhen, China.
Because there is massive amount of expertise in one area in Silicon Valley and also massive amount of expertise in another area in Shenzhen, it makes sense for the 2 areas to collaborate and get the best of both worlds.
China native Jason Wong also utilized both the Silicon Valley and Shenzhen ecosystems to his advantage to build the company MakeBlock, which creates products that help children learn science and technology. Their solutions are now in schools around the world, including this one in New Jersey. MakeBlock's founder, Wong, was also one of the first to enter the Bay Area's HAX Accelerator program.
I think the mentorship from HAX was probably one of the most valuable pieces learned from Silicon Valley. And also from trial and error here. When we first started our company, we had different distribution lines, we had tried different avenues and constantly worked to improve.
Hello. Silicon Valley-based marketing manager Patrick Boyle shows me MakeBlock's new product, M-Tiny, which introduces kids to coding at an early age.
We have kids that are 3 years old that are already using this and beginning to program using these coding blocks.
MakeBlock sells products in more than 140 countries with more than 15 million users. It's now headquartered in Shenzhen, China, where it has its own manufacturing facility.
One note that stands out to me the most is the ability and the strength that Shenzhen has when it comes to product innovation and development. Shenzhen has been able to develop products for MakeBlock at such an exponential rate. They have some of the smartest engineers. They work very quickly, and they're able to produce the things that the company needs to create our vision and our mission.
Both MakeBlock and NER began with a combination of crowdfunding and venture capital investment that came right out of here in Silicon Valley. But now both have grown into international operations with Shenzhen at the heart of their innovation. Mark New, CGTN, Sunnyvale, California.
Now for our special coverage, we go live to my colleague Zhao Yunfei, who is now in Shenzhen, where he's having a roundtable discussion with people who have played a role in the city's development.
The best way to predict the future is to invent it. That is exactly what Shenzhen has done. Under the framework of reform and opening up, the small fishing village has turned to a metropolis. Today, the economic zone turns 40 years old. Over the 4 decades, generations have made contributions to this energetic city. They're just ordinary people, but today in our program, we're going to hear some of their stories. And the space we're having our roundtable conversation today is called Artificial Intelligence and Robotics for Society. There are many innovation centers here in Shenzhen. Fields of their study from computer visualization to cloud intelligence. And they're the driving forces of the Shenzhen's economy, as well as predicting the city's future. As you can tell, most of our guests has already stand by to our conversation. But before we come to our dialogue, we have prepared you an introduction clip of our distinguished guests. Welcome to our show, gentlemen. Well, our guests are really come from a different perspective, different industry. So I really want to know, like, what's your view about this energetic city of Shenzhen? 我们先从您开始吧。这是钟叔可以说是40年前，正好40年前来到了深圳。您做的是餐饮行业 dim sum， 现在生意怎么样？
还行。
您刚才跟我说，
My business is
那个群众的口味变化了。
对。因为随着时代变化嘛，
With
现在
the change
深圳
of
是
time,
年轻人城市，
Right now,
年
Shenzhen
轻
is a
人的
city
城市，
for
就是
young
说
people.
我们作为一个传统粤菜行业
As a
是
traditional
有一定
restaurant
的
for
冲击，
Cantonese
但是
cuisine,
呢，
it
我
may
们
have
还
some
是
impact to
坚
our
持的
business,
做手工艺，
but still
因
we are
为
sticking
粤菜
to
是中国
our
8代
technique
菜系
because
之一吧，对吧？
Cantonese cuisine is
而
one
且
of
我
the
们的
most
点
famous
心
8
都是
cuisines
每一个
in
是
China.
通过
For each
人
one
手
of the dim
去
sum,
包裹而
we
成的，
made
就
manually.
不像现在的快餐业啊什
So
么
it
的
is not
快
like the
餐文化
fast food industry.
作为广东人，
As a
一盅两
Cantonese,
件，广东人叫做一盅
so
茶，
we have
一
to
个
pay
包子，
attention to our
一个
tradition.
凤爪，
That is
这是一个早餐的
one
餐饮文
teapot
化来说，
and 2 dim
我
sums.
希望能够传承下
So
去
I hope
这
I
种
could
文化，
inherit
餐饮
this
文化。
tradition and culture.
Well, definitely, Shenzhen is a brand new city, but certainly Mr. Zhang is trying to preserve the culture, the taste, the bite of Shenzhen over here. Just to give a little background, like Mr. Zhang came to this city exactly 40 years ago, so he witnessed the entire process of how the city has developed. Now, back in 40 years, he was came here with his parents, who was part of the contributors, construction workers of this metropolis. metropolis. Now, there was one building here in Shenzhen called Guomao. It's very well known nationwide. It is famous for building one floor in 3 days. Very incredible speed. I went to visit a family who has participated to this project.
Shenzhen's Guomao building contains special memories for many, including Wang Shungao and his family. Wang came to Shenzhen 4 decades ago to participate in the construction of the building. Then he decided to stay. Witnessing how the city has developed, Wang says he's proud of his contribution.
When we were building Guomao, the only high-rise was a mall near us. As we went taller than the mall, we got excited. Then we made it even taller, and we could see Hong Kong behind the mountains.
With a height of 160 meters, Guomao was built in just 3 years from 1983 to 1985, a speed that seemed impossible. Hardship were expected, but Wang says he had not only given his toil and sweat, but also received love. He met his wife Du Xianfang, another construction worker, on the site. Going through archive photos, memories came back. According to the couple, the biggest motivation of workers back then was to help their country get on the fast track of development.
We simply thought that this was a project that carried the hopes of people around the country. We felt that we could do it well, do it fast, and be worthy of their trust.
The couple's dream continues as their daughter Wang Qianqian chose the same industry. But she says it's not easy to surpass her parents.
The society is developing fast. I want to do a better job, and I feel a lot of pressure.
Compared with the old days, the construction facilities are far more advanced. Wang Qianqian says the story of Guomao building is still their spiritual guide.
And we have Wang Shungao joining our show. So thank you for joining us. I wanted to know that what was the most inspiring moment back then when you were constructing the building? 王叔，当时建国贸大厦的时候，给您印象最深刻的是什么？
Back in that time, when we are building the Guomao building, I actually came to Shenzhen from Hubei province. We are bringing the most cutting-edge technology to build the Guomao building. What impressed me most? That time we have very good technology. When we're building the Guomao building, we have seen some challenges because of the weather condition, and we fell 3 times, and the 4th time we finally succeed. And then we built the floors from 7 days, 6 days, and then 3 days to 1 floor. And I'm very pleased to see that we can complete 1 floor in 3 days, and then we complete the whole building. And everyone is excited about that moment. I'm very honored to participate.
A highlight of his career. Now, but the development of this special economic zone is not just the city itself. We're building one building. It's basically integrated development. Just to give you a bigger picture, let's cross live to our 2 groups of reporters. There are Omar Khan in Shenzhen and Lu Siray standing by for us in Zhuhai. Let me go to your first, Omar. So. From your observation, Omar, you have been working in the Southeast China for in the last couple of years, and you have interviewed many people here in Shenzhen. What do you think makes Shenzhen so dynamic?
Well, like you said it right there, it's dynamic indeed. I've been here in South China, based out of Guangzhou, for almost 4 years. Multiple trips coming here to Shenzhen. And of course, it's those buzzwords of AI, IoT, and 5G that define this city. It's all about technology. Most of my trips here have been interviewing companies like Huawei, Tencent, DJI, and all of those industry leaders that have come to Shenzhen, have come to China's Silicon Valley and set up their base here. But over the past few days, you kind of discover more about the city. There's often this sort of statement, both used by locals and, of course, expats living here, or even in other parts of China. They say, oh, Shenzhen has no culture, Shenzhen's history is purely driven by the economy and development. But if you actually come here and you spend time, you get to know the various parts of the city, it tells a different story, I should say. Just over the past few days, for example, I went out to Huaqiangbei, which is the hardware capital of the world. It's based in the heart of Shenzhen. And of course, it is about technology, it is about innovation, but it's also about the stories of the people working there. I got to catch up with one gentleman. He came all the way from Zhejiang province, came to South China and is pursuing his career, his business. I also spoke to another innovator who started here in Shenzhen, working in the chip industry, and went on to open his own company. So it is business oriented, but people do establish a livelihood here, sort of life. And on the other side of things, Shenzhen shouldn't be defined by its skyscrapers and by its tech-driven economy, although those are good things. Those are aspects of the city that are providing for people, but it's an incredibly green city. I've been here on two occasions. Actually, last year there was an international forum discussing how Shenzhen is actually a model for well-developed cities still maintaining and sustaining a green space ecological preservation from mangrove forests to mountain areas just bordering the Hong Kong SAR. It is indeed a very lush and green city. So these are sort of the defining features of Shenzhen. So of course, it is at the forefront today. We're talking about 40 years since being marked as a special economic zone, but there is more to Shenzhen than just the economy. Back to you and your wonderful roundtable.
Thank you, Omar. Truly, this is the city that embraces diversity. Let me bring in Surrey now. Surrey, we talk about integrated innovation as well as integrated development. So when Shenzhen's hopping on the fast track of development, it also benefits surrounding cities, right?
Yes, definitely. But from my previous interview with Zhuhai people, I feel that here they have a very different style. They are very confident about what they are doing right now, and they're not so easily influenced by other cities unless it's the kind of influence they want. For example, Zhuhai people are very proud of their clean air and blue skies. And they told me that, they know that in the past decades, they didn't outperform other, for example, special economic zones or even big cities that are growing rapidly in terms of economic growth. But they're kind of, feeling proud of this because they say that they've never sacrificed the environment for their pure economic growth. They think this is wise and very insightful because they say now people's evaluation standard of a city has changed. Previously, they only look at your GDP, but now they're looking at which sector actually boosts the city's wealth. So now they think Zhuhai is really on this right track where they have this really good foundation for sustainable development. And now they want to explore more in the high-tech industries, for example, robotics, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, even aviation industries. And these clusters are gathered at the northern part of Zhuhai, which is very close to Shenzhen Zhongshan Bridge. And now people here are also talking a lot about Shenzhen-Zhuhai Bridge. That is still in planning, but people are talking a lot about it. So I think once these channels are open, the interaction between Shenzhen and Zhuhai will become more frequent, and those big companies in Shenzhen who need more space or resources would choose Zhuhai as their first choice, and those investment in high-tech industries is exactly what Zhuhai wants. So I think more integrated development would definitely be seen in the future among these two cities. Yunfei.
All right, thank you very much. Looks really live for us from Zhuhai and Omar Khan in Shenzhen. As both of my colleagues has mentioned, the innovation hub or tech center, certainly many startup and big tech companies has already settled their home here in Shenzhen, and many of the applications has already been used in epidemic prevention, and here's how.
Artificial intelligence is a key component of many smart cities. Amid the COVID-19 pandemic, AI has been applied to prevention and control measures. This door access system can detect your body temperature and whether or not you have a mask on. But if you don't, it won't let you in.
The system is available in communities and workplaces. If someone with a high temperature tries to get access, The system will alert the administrator.
Facial recognition technology has been used in some malls, helping merchants track down suspects of theft. Now it's the same technology helping health authorities with contact tracing for potential coronavirus cases.
The pandemic has made us realize that we lack a system that can both locate people and screen their body temperatures. Our newest system meets both needs to close the loophole.
Shenzhen has been a hub of new ideas and startups in the high-tech industry. Pengcheng Laboratory is a government-led research center that promotes innovation in tech. It provides platforms for doctors like Chang Yi and Wang Xiao who've received assistance for their project. It's a camera that can capture images at speeds higher than the average low-motion camera can.
With automatic vehicles, ordinary cameras can hardly capture fast-moving cars or pedestrians. This camera can quickly detect road conditions and help avoid accidents.
The team says they've received sufficient support from the lab.
We were told to focus on problems that others have trouble solving. I'm very inspired by the project.
The team says they hope their project can make great contributions to society and especially to Shenzhen's success.
Well, every time I came here doing the interview, I was so impressed by the innovations over here. So, Professor Wu, we mentioned that there are so many. This is the headquarters for many companies. So, what makes Shenzhen so attractive to those high-tech tech giants? And can we apply this model to other parts of the
Certainly
nation?
we can. Certainly we can. So we probably know that all the tech giant company, they always start from scratch, from very small and medium-sized company, right? For those companies, they have common characteristics. One, have a group of young, creative talents. Two, no money, no startup cash. Three, you probably need to start up everything in your backyard. So those are the common features. So they are quite hard for them to get the market capital or market investments, but they have dream, they have vision to purchase, to chase it. So what Shenzhen provides, I believe there are two different kind of support facilities. One is hard facility support, and two is soft support, soft kind of help, right? For hard one, the Shenzhen government provides the angel funds facilities, right? So if you have a dream, you have a good kind of projects, as long as the project is being over the reviewed, you can get startup companies, angel funds, right? Those funds may be from the maybe from the market, but the market won't take any risk on that. So Shenzhen government will compensate certain loss if the angel fund invests in certain project and the project fails. But obviously, many of the projects are very quite successful in the before. And secondly, they provide soft support, right? So all the kind of the high-tech things, right? They have very good patents, but they lack of the commercial application scenarios. So Shenzhen company willing to let all the high-tech companies, as long as your application are good, marketable, we would like to try. For example, the blockchain, which is very popular in this year, right? So blockchain, if you want to utilize the blockchain technology into the commercial scenario, you need government support. So government, we're willing to let all the blockchain companies to do the fapiao, the tax invoice, or even the house registrations to prevent the fraudulent papers on that. So those are quite important for the startup company. When the company, from startup company to the medium size to the big size, they will show their gratitude. So they're willing to set up their headquarters in the city whom give you the primarily support at the beginning. So that is the successful kind of models in Shenzhen. Obviously, this model can be duplicated in other cities as long as we respect to those tenants, as long as we respect to the market and and set up a entrepreneur-friendly environment. The company, the model can be applied to other cities.
Definitely. So with preferential policies,
of course,
elites and investment definitely will be attracted. So Marco, you are a consultant in foreign investment. Why do you think that, what do you foresee Shenzhen's future in terms of attracting, like foreign investments, foreign companies?
Right, so I think it pretty much aligns with what Professor Wolf just mentioned, just for foreign direct investment as well. So when we see foreign direct investors coming here, exploring the city, maybe on the first business trip,
What they would really like to see is to have these preferential policies also in place for them, and also maybe a more regulatory framework that fits their needs within the Greater Bay Area. So what we see there is that you can set up in Shenzhen, you can set up in Shanghai and Hangzhou, but what really would make Shenzhen stand out would be a preferential regulatory framework, and that's really to be seen, I think, in the near future, in the next 1 to 5 years, where Shenzhen wants to show itself and also to show its uniqueness within the Greater Bay Area and within China as a whole again.
And it's just been 40 years, so there's much more to come. Thank you, gentlemen, for your insights. Now, our conversation will continue. So if you download CGTN app or go to YouTube, Facebook, or Weibo or Twitter, you can watch our live stream by search CGTN. But for our TV audience, it's back to Dongniu. But for our TV audience, it's back to Dongniu. And you're watching special coverage of Shenzhen's 40th anniversary of economic development. We will be right back. Okay. So now, if you tune in, this is our live streaming, our CGTN's all media platforms, from Facebook to Twitter, from YouTube to Weibo. We're continuing our discussion.
So I want to ask Mr. Wang. So when you were building the Guomao mansion, and I heard that you met your beloved one. Yes, that's the most unforgettable memory I got from that process. I met with my love, Du Shufang, and over the years we married and we got our daughter. And then I settled down in this city. And the life has become better and better. I personally witnessed the enormous development of the city, which was never imagined many years ago, and we love this city better, and we're just settling down in here. And your wife is doing the same job with you. Yes, and so is our daughter. Our daughter is also in the construction industry, and she's also doing the construction industry.
So back in the 40 years, I mean, like 40 years ago, when the first batch of people coming to this small fishing village, most of them are construction workers, and their children has become one of the major labor forces of this city when decades to come. For example, we have another friend. His parents literally came to Shenzhen as a constructor, but he's doing
so for now,
here.
So you are owning a dim sum restaurant, and you just told me that you want to maintain the traditional cuisine. How do you do that? Well, for our foreign friends, I think you must have all heard the term dim sum. So in this fast-paced society, and the fast food culture is very popular, and it's dealing a heavy blow to the young people, but we believe we need to maintain and sustain this traditional culture, and dim sum is one very representative part of the cuisine culture here in Guangdong. So when the young people come to Shenzhen, and when they come across this dim sum, and they will pick up this traditional culture, and they will then bring their parents to a tea house and to have some chat with their parents and friends here in Shenzhen.
So, in terms of opportunities of this city, Professor, what do you think of The city has provided opportunity, given the reform and opening up framework. What kind of opportunities would the young people now seeking here in this city?
Well, I believe that with the vast majority of the population staying in one area, one cities, especially in Shenzhen, there are always opportunities there, right? So from the service industries to construction, logistics, and education, healthcare services, and high-tech kind of the brain, kind of the research centers, they all need talent peoples, all need people to contribute their effort to make their dream, make their life better. So Shenzhen itself, I believe, is a huge opportunities, not just for Shenzhenese person, for all the global tenants. They want to chasing their dream, make their kind of the vision to become successful stories, come to Shenzhen. That is, I believe, quite important and great opportunities for the young person or even for all kind of different aged persons to live in Shenzhen. Yeah.
Definitely. Speaking of your students,
Yes.
they must be very motivated. I mean, they're business major, finance major students, so most of them are thinking about staying in the city for sure, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and well, Shenzhen as the top tier, one of the top tier cities in China, well, they can offer a variety of the career opportunities, right? So, and those career opportunities are usually very high end, so they can get better paid and easy to get promotions, as well as the living environment and facility is quite convenient for people to work here. So that reason why the young people, young talent prefer and they love to live in the Shenzhen, like in Shenzhen, and especially it's close to Hong Kong. If you want to go overnight, kind of the over weekend shoppings, you can just like cross border easily to go to Shenzhen, the shopping heavens, to buy something you couldn't buy in the mainland China. And most important,
if we don't have the pandemic.
Of course, yeah, that's right. And also another thing is the living environment, the health environment, or the environment here itself is the unique features for Shenzhen, right? It's close to oceans, clear kind of the airs, and a nice kind of blue and blue skies. So that is why young people prefer to stay in these cities.
Definitely. Yeah. So we also, a lot of people I spoke with over here in this city told me that basically this city with a huge dynamic and embrace diversity. But the term most Chinese people say diversity is literally mean that this is a city that with Chinese people come all over the country. But from the foreigner perspective, how do you think that the foreign investment as well as foreigners could be involved in this city?
Right. I think what comes automatically with a more level playing framework there for foreign investors is also the foreigners who want to be here and live here and can consider Shenzhen their home. And I think there it's important to first of all have a first-class infrastructure, which it has already, more international schools, hospitals. Many teachers are still stuck abroad right now. Many long-term residents of China are still stuck abroad. But I think in general Shenzhen is on a good way to become a more global city there. And where you just mentioned the right point, Shenzhen is a city with Chinese people that come from all over China. We don't just have Cantonese food here, we have excellent food from all over China here. But when it comes to, you can see it with foreign food here. It's pretty difficult for a foreigner or foreign investor to open their own restaurant, for example, on a low budget.
Okay.
On a low budget. That's why you have big chains like McDonald's that you find easily, but not as in Europe or in the US, where you can have immigrants and that open their restaurants.
So he was saying that foreigners can also taste other types of food here in Shenzhen, and so how much percentage of elements do we still have from Guangdong? Well, I think it's a very large percentage, but right now it's becoming quite different, as the gentleman has mentioned that the foreigners are coming here experiencing many different tastes of cuisines. But as I have mentioned, this is a craftsmanship, and this is the real authentic dim sum, the most authentic flavor of Guangdong. So have you imagined that, we have many people from different walks of life coming to Shenzhen. 40 years ago, did you imagine that, the building that you were building could attract this many people? So we were here 40 years ago, engaged in the construction industry. I was thinking of moving to other industries, maybe to the hotel industry, and I was considering Fully Hotel, which was a hotel invested by the U.S., and I considered of moving to the electricity management industry of the hotel, but my wife refused, and so that is why I stayed in the construction industry. And over the years, I have participated in the construction of many buildings, and I see the rising of many different buildings, and so we kept receiving orders, and we are working at a leading construction company in China. And over the years, we have kept the spirit of endeavoring. It is this spirit that we have maintained in this industry. My father, my wife, and my daughter, for 3 generations, my family has engaged in the construction industry, and I truly love this industry, and I didn't change.
Incredible observation while I was interviewing Wang Xunggao. We hop on the Guomao building, and he told me then when they were building the construction, and when it gets higher, and they got excited because they see Hong Kong on the other side of the mountain, so they got to see, okay, they surpass other high rises that makes them so excited. So it's very pure, like inspirational idea back then, 40 years ago. So we talk about the Shenzhen speed, certainly, not just within the city. The Shenzhen speed is expanding to its surroundings. So I got a chance to visit the Shenzhong link. It's actually linking the Shenzhen to Zhongshan, the 2 very important megacities in Pearl River Delta. Let's take a look. Shenzhen and Zhongshan are 2 major megacities at the Pearl River Delta. If you travel by land from one city to another city, it usually takes 2 hours. We're traveling from Shenzhen to Zhongshan, trying to catch a cruise to inspect a channel under construction. By 2024, the channel linking the 2 cities is expected to cut the travel time to less than 30 minutes. This is the Shenzhen-Zhongshan link. It stretches 24 kilometers. It contains 2 sections with 7 kilometers of tunnel and 17 kilometers of bridges. Once complete, it will be an iconic scene on the Pearl River Delta. Those are the main towers of Lingdingyang Bridge. Now, they're still under construction, but once complete, they will be 270 meters tall, making the construction one of the world's longest suspension bridges. The Zhujiang estuary is a busy water area. In order to pave way for the shipping lanes, the deck of the Lingdingyang Bridge is designed as 90 meters above the water level. That is as high as a 30-story building. When the channel comes to the Shenzhen side, the lane will go from above water to underneath. I'm at the conjunction sites between the bridges and the tunnel. But how would they make it happen? Well, they build an artificial island like this, and that's why you can see machines behind me digging the holes. The entire project of Shenzhen-Zhongshan Link is designed to have a lifespan of more than 100 years. It is expected to benefit the citizens of the 2 metropolises with a combined of 16 million people. Okay, so we talked about the Shenzhen speed. just now, Mr. Wang mentioned about the spirit of this city. So I want to get some of your thoughts about like what's your understanding of Shenzhen spirit. 我先从您开始吧。您觉得深圳精神是什么样的？
That is, I think it's tolerance. So how specifically, what is tolerance demonstrated from your tea house? So here in Shenzhen, we have people from all over the country. I have been to many places of the country, and I believe Shenzhen is the only place that is not having this xenophobia. And so Shenzhen is very inclusive, and so no matter where you are from, and you could make a fortune here, because the young people, they are very vibrant. So Shenzhen is taking a lead over the other countries in terms of whatever aspect that you're talking about. And so Shenzhen is truly walking ahead of other places. And also, we have very good, very high level of civilization, and people here are very civilized. So your dim sum is like a glue connecting people together. Yeah, I believe dim sum could even go to the world. So what do you make of Shenzhen spirit? Shenzhen is a very young and vibrant city. I came here when I was 18 years old. I believe Shenzhen is a city of inclusiveness. As was mentioned, that everybody can come here. As long as you are able, you can make a fortune here. You can embrace the opportunity here. In Shenzhen, you can meet people from all over the world, and it's very inclusive. And also, it's environmentally friendly, and you can see that the environment here is becoming better and better. So we truly love this city. And this year marks the 40th anniversary for the establishment of the Shenzhen Special Economic Zone, and the achievement of this city is well recognized all across the world. And this Special Economic Zone is truly successful. I believe that in the future it will jump on a higher level, and more people will fall in love with this city.
When we reach Shenzhen, so we're trying to see who are the local residents. It's hard to define who are the local Shenzhen residents, because certainly it's a very small proportion of population, and it's all kind of people, it's all kind of migrants come from all parts of China. And also he mentioned about the Pearl River Delta. What do you foresee the future of Pearl River Delta development in terms of like what role would this kind of innovation hub play in the future?
The purpose of setting up the Great Bay Area is we try to find out the synergy when you integrate all different cities with different features and characteristics into one part. So that is a national strategy to develop or find out the potentials for the Great Bay areas. It's a huge areas. All the cities are connected with the Pearl Rivers. So some cities are good at the manufacturing, the food supplies, and something like the Shenzhen, and Shenzhen is maybe good at the innovative, and the creative kind of idea and designs. And Hong Kong, obviously famous of its financial services. They used to be isolated each others, and do a little bit of business. But we try to find out how we integrate those cities together. What is the potential synergies we can find out that? Because Shenzhen have become so famous these days, all the housing prices, living expenses getting higher. So maybe it's hard for the newcomer, if you are just a manufacturer laborers, to live here. So why not we attract all the global tenants to do the designing, to do the creative job here? But we're outsourcing all the labor manufacturing or labor-intensive kind of the industries to a city like Dongguan, Zhuhai. They will benefit from the employment, and Shenzhen will benefit from focusing on its core competitive or competencies business. So that are the beauty of setting up the Great Bay areas. I believe it will work very well in the next 10 or 20 years.
For internationally, I wonder what is Great Bay Area to foreign investors, in the eyes of foreign investors? What would they see? How will you define it?
Right, so similar to what he just said, the Greater Bay Area is a strategy where each city tries to play along its strengths and not compete with one another. And this is also something I see where the Greater Bay Area will excel if each city really has its core industry or core industries there and can find it. However, just on June this year, the European Chamber has released a business confidence survey. And yeah, I think the majority, 89% of European companies that are located in the GBA have heard of the plan, are very aware of the plan. Marketing works pretty good there. But only 63% said that they actually benefit from the Greater Bay Area. So the infrastructure is already in place. We have great connections throughout the cities. I think if there are more tangible opportunities along the field, going forward, the city and the Greater Bay Area will grow tighter together and will become an attractive marketplace. And I think foreign professionals will then also not only be driven to go to Hong Kong or Shenzhen, but maybe cities like Foshan. I used to live in Foshan myself for a year.
It's also part of the economic zone.
Right, so we have it spread all out, and then we also don't have the issue of the housing prices anymore.
Right, certainly. So I want to get some of your last words at the end of this conversation. 先问问您，未来这个有什么打算？
And are you going to continue to stay in the industry? Yes, we will stay in this industry. My daughter used to work in a bank, and then she came back to the construction industry. She wants to become just a constructor for the city. So when I retire, I will not go to any other industries. I will just stay in this industry. I will just live in this city.
So Mr. Wang certainly wants to pass on his skills, wonderful skills, construction skills, to the next generation.
How about you? Do you have any plans for your business in the future? As Mr. Wang has mentioned, I'm gradually passing the job to my next generation. I hope that with the capacity of the young people, with their vision and their skills, I believe that they can make some big progress on the basis of my achievement, and I'm about at the age of the retirement. I want to travel to other places.
If I want to get maybe one piece of critique or anything about Shenzhen, what do you think that there's anything need to be improved?
If we talk about Shenzhen as a city that attracts people from all over the world, when I look at that slogan that Shenzhen has, 来深圳就是深圳人.
来深圳就是深圳人.
And I think that slogan.
If you come to Shenzhen, then you're local. You're Shenzhenese.
You're Shenzhener. And I think that slogan has been promoted throughout China. Maybe we can get or spread the word around the world. So
that's not a critique.
I can, in the short term, open the borders again for residents. That would be foreign residents.
Further embrace diversity.
Right.
Certainly. And what about you? What do you think? What's the future Shenzhen would like when we come to like maybe 50th anniversary or 60th anniversary? What would be like?
Keep the city young and free. I think that is the critical important things for the Shenzhen in the past 40 years, and it will be critical important for this city in the next 40 or even 100 years. As long as you are young, the city is young, with the free embrace with young people and the free kind of idea, creative ideas, the city will never back down. So that was my advice to this beautiful city.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your insights. Now, today we celebrate the 40th anniversary, the 40th birthday of Shenzhen. Now, our coverage of our special program will continue on CGTN's all media platforms. Now, at 12 GMT, we'll continue our roundtable discussion, and the next topic will be high-tech industry. So stay tuned on CGTN. Thank you for watching. Take care.